Township Board of Trustees to order. Please rise. And Trustee Clark, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Clark?
Present.
Trustee Drapka?
Present and accounted for.
Trustee Hollenbeck?
Present.
Supervisor Wilt?
Present.
Let the record note, Trustee Lupfer is not in attendance and Clerk Blau is in attendance.
Thank you. We have before us the approval of the minutes of the October 8th Board of Trustees meeting. That was the last full trustees meeting. What is your pleasure?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the full Board of Trustees meetings on October 8th, 2019.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of October 8th, 2019. Are there any additions or corrections before this board? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
I abstain, I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay, motion is carried. Thank you. I said aye also. Approval of the minutes of October 22nd. This was the committee of the whole, the second one of October. What is your pleasure?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for the committee of the whole meeting for October 22nd, 2019.
I have a motion to approve the meeting of the minutes of the committee of the whole of October 22nd. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Drapka. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay?
Aye.
Okay, I'll take that. Motion is carried. And we do not have minutes of the November 5th
And you know what, I
meeting.
had him at, and I left him at work, I apologize.
That's all right, we can approve those next time. So we had another committee of the whole meeting, but we do not have minutes from that yet. So, on to communications. Trustee Blau, do you have any?
Yes, we have a save the date, the 2020 Friends of Scouting, December 5th, 2019 at River Point. Come celebrate a successful year of scouting and sharing the good news for 2020. It's at River Point, the offices of DLA Piper. Registration is at 5:30 p.m. and the program starts at 6:30. So
Is that for this year? Or this is
Yes.
coming up, right?
Thursday, December 5th.
Yes.
We also have a letter from the Boy Scouts of America. Let the records note, Trustee Lumpfer is in attendance at 7:04. Actually, it's about the same thing, about this,
Oh, so we had to save the date and then
Yeah,
the
save-
actual invitation?
yeah, yes.
We'll make copies for everyone so they can see.
And then we have a letter from the Friends of the Library. They made a monetary donation to the Riverside Township Food Pantry. They're happy to announce that our young readers, again, made great strides this past summer in achieving extra hours, which resulted in a donation of $150, which they're giving to us. So that was a very nice letter.
Very good.
And they're very proud of the readers. That concludes the communications for this evening.
Thank you very much. Before we move to grants, is there any visitor here who's here for some other purpose and would like to address the board? Oh, then we'll move right to grants. Under new business, the first grant request we have is from People Care. Do we have a representative here?
I am here.
Would you please step to the podium so that if there are any questions, we can address them? Identify yourself, please.
Good evening. My name is Judy Mantell. I'm the Executive Director of People Care, Inc., located here in Riverside.
And we have a request for $10,000. This is the annual request for grant.
Yes.
We have all the information about what the organization does. There's some supporting material. And we have your tax determination letter. So and we have quite a bit of supporting material.
I make a motion that we approve this grant of $10,000 to People Care.
I second it.
I have a motion by trustee Clark, seconded by trustee Heilenbach, to grant the requested $10,000 for People Care for their services throughout the township.
Yeah, I got a
Additions or
question.
questions?
Yeah, no,
Questions?
I got a
Yes.
question. So I think you guys do great stuff,
Thank you.
but it looks like you got some serious cash flow issues going on.
Not anymore.
Oh, okay, well, that's
Well,
good that this is outdated material then.
Well, it's just outdated by a few weeks. We just received the Cott Memorial Foundation grant and $10,000, and we're already above our average of personal donations from businesses and people. We're at about $3,000, and normally we were running about $1,700 to $2,000.
Wonderful,
So-
because my follow-up was gonna be how can we help you promote yourself more because of the situation that I was looking at here, you know what I mean?
Yes,
So,
I do.
I know,
do.
well, you know, we know what you do, all
Yes.
right? And we would like to help you more. How can we publicize what you guys do more?
Well, Vera has been very gracious, as always mentioning us in the Riverside Review when it comes out in our water bills and such, which is wonderful. And that is actually, it's funny you bring that up because I just completed what my goals for 2020 are going to be for the People Care Board. And part of that is getting out in the community more and more. And that is just, we're going to be doing some different socials and being at different locations. I've already been to like the Riverside Junior Women's Club. I was at the Knights of Columbus. So it's just a matter of getting back out more in the community. We fell off the radar just a little bit with our previous director when he fell walking his dog and tore both his hamstrings. So we in the office, I should preface that, I had worked for People Care for 12 years now, so I was always in the office and a volunteer. We stepped up and kind of did what Bruce did, but we didn't do it to the level of what he did it. And it just seemed like the natural progression now that he's doing much better, and he is in his late 70s, that he wanted to step down from being director, and I somehow got nominated and accepted it. And so now I'm the new director. So we're working on different things for that. One of the biggest things is to keep us in the Riverside Review. That's been very helpful. And I've been promoting the Riverside Township in our newsletters. And actually for my January newsletter, I have a thing I was going to give to Vera to see if the board would approve what I wanted to put in there, as far as with what you have for the community nurses closet and such, because I personally have come in and gotten walkers and different things for our clients that are no longer driving. So basically just always talk about us. If you have a senior in the area or someone that you know could use services, give them our name and number and have them call us, or reach out to me and I will call them and offer, whatever services we can to them.
If I
yes.
may just intercede, in
Absolutely.
full disclosure, I appreciate the compliment, but the water bills and all, that's the village side, so we don't do that.
I'm so sorry.
However, we do mention
have
you
to
in
tell
our
them about
newsletter and
us.
so forth, so.
Someone has to tell them about us. If I could just take a really quick minute, I wanted to give you a quick snapshot of what we do, because I don't know if everyone is really familiar with what we do. We work closely with Aging Care Connections, Age Options, and Cantata. We are a volunteer-based organization. It's driven. We do full background checks on all our volunteers. We provide transportation, weekly group grocery shopping, friendly visitors, telephone reassurance, subsidized cab voucher program. We have a big resource of information and referrals. We send birthday cards to all of our clients. We send holiday cards to all of our clients. We do a People Care wide social every year. Next year we want to do more than just one because we're really working towards combating social isolation amongst our seniors. A recent study out of England has shown that 1 in 5 senior citizens in England may go upwards of 7 to 10 days without any human interaction via in person or on the telephone, and that is something that we're unfortunately starting to see. So that's something that we're really going to be working on. To date, and this is from last week Thursday, I didn't go in and look at it, we've given 2,038 round-trip rides. Our volunteers have driven 13,941 miles. We've spent 1,433 hours spent with our clients. We've answered the phone over 2,300 times. We've provided 700 telephone reassurance calls. We've sent out 176 birthday cards, and we've sent out over 625 greeting cards. And greeting cards, by that I mean we send out cards to all our clients for Valentine's Day, Easter, St. Patrick's Day, 4th of July, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. So, and sometimes I have to say that's the only communication they get. We also this year have helped secure a laptop for one of our blind clients. We've procured an air conditioner for one of our clients that didn't have air conditioning and is a very bad asthmatic and was diagnosed with COPD. We've helped 5 people find new affordable housing. We've helped a client who is 100 years old now, I'm happy to say, and she didn't have handrails going up to the 3rd floor of her apartment that she still lives in on her own. So we worked with her building management company to get handrails installed in that building. We've helped a client reduce their bills by 70% because they were paying for things they didn't realize they were paying for. And we've also secured orthopedic pillows for a lot of our clients that have degenerative disc disease in their backs. And we found that, I hate to say, and I don't want to promote it, but Bob's orthopedic pillow, it does really work wonders for these people. So we've procured them for those clients. And we had a young man who works at Riverside Garage help a senior citizen that was stalled out here in front of the Township Hall procure a new battery for her car. And he brought it over, came in, installed it, got her car started for her, and got her on her way. So, I'm very happy to be able to say this is what we've done so far this year. And we did have our social. We celebrated Marie's 100th birthday there, and we had that at the North Riverside Library, and it was pretty special to be able to do that.
Wonderful, thank you.
Social isolation, incredible crisis.
Oh, it is. It's
It
very
is
scary.
worse. It's worse than smoking cigarettes. It is, right?
Yeah.
Another one for you. I'm sure that you're aware, but Chris Center down in Champaign County to combat social isolation. They're doing a new pilot program. They're putting Alexas into senior homes.
We've heard of that.
Yeah. Mhm.
And that is something that is going to be explored, except for the fact that when we polled our clients, almost 60% do not have the internet, and they don't want the internet.
Sure.
So it's kind of it's a tough position to be in,
Yeah.
but it is something that we've definitely are exploring the avenues for that. And I'm actually working with Diane Slazak over at Age Options for social isolation issues and different ways we can combine with them to help combat that in our community.
Terrific.
I have a question.
Yes.
Whose vehicles are you using? Is it your volunteers?
Our volunteers use their own vehicles. We do have an umbrella insurance policy that goes along with our nonprofit status and our organization, but our volunteers do use their own vehicles, and they are fully vetted, and they have to have insurance and so on in order for us to do that. We have 42 active volunteers right now. That's going to drop to about 36 in about 2 weeks when several of them go down south for the winter. But they always come back to us, and they always start volunteering again in April, so we don't panic too much about that. And that's one of our goals next year too, is to increase our volunteer base, because we're getting more clients requesting friendly visitors. So,
Yeah, I
You know.
agree with trustee Dromka that as closer connections that we can make, the better.
oh,
I think-
yes.
I think
yeah.
we're,
Yeah,
Working on
and,
the same
and I
thing.
actually am working with Ron over at the rec department to see if we can combine some of our socials with some of the things that the rec department would like to do. Because Riverside is a smaller township, as everybody well knows, and although we have like the free exercise program and things like that, and we do have, you know, the golden agers and such, we would like to be able to bring more people out and about to be social with other seniors. And I have to say, our weekly group grocery shopping has turned into a social outing. The people will call each other and say, are you going to Aldi's tomorrow? You know, and we have some that, they don't need anything from the grocery store, but they go because they want to see their friends.
That's great.
So, and we use Cantata's bus for that.
Oh, that's
That's one of their community outreaches, is their bus for that.
That's wonderful.
So it's, we're growing and we're getting better, and, you know, we stumbled a little bit, but we're back on our feet.
We occasionally do get people who come in and say, I want to volunteer, what can I do? And we have referred them to you.
Oh, well,
So-
thank you.
So we'll
Thank
continue
you.
to do that, knowing that you're
Yes.
always looking for
Well,
more
thank you.
volunteers.
And I don't know if it's appropriate, but can I pass out to each of the board members our current newsletter? And I'm one of those people that if I have a theme, I can work with it really well year round. So this year, our theme at People Care was the Year of the Hug. So I have hugs for all of the board members.
Wonderful.
So,
Please go ahead.
So I will give you your little goodies.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Judy?
Can we have a motion on the table?
Yes, we do.
Yes, and a second.
Very good. If there's no other additions or corrections to, or other questions to the motion, I will ask Clerk Blau to please call the vote.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Thank you.
Trustee Hollenbeck?
Yes,
Trustee Lupfer?
yes.
thank you, Judy.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
You are dropping. They want to just stay
Thank
with
you.
me, I think, the Kennedy.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Mantell. Next up is the Prairie Trail Federation. We have a representative here. If you would step to the podium, identify yourself, and
Good evening. My name is Nick Caputo.
My name is Sean May.
welcome.
Thank you.
So we have before us a request for a $2,000 grant to the Prairie Trail Federation. Would you like to summarize what your needs are and give us a little background here?
Thank you. My name's Nick Caputo. I've been a resident for about 11 years of Riverside. I have 4 children, 3 of which participate in the Prairie Trail Federation. I have 2 boys that participate as Indian guides in what we call Kiwashina. And I have a daughter that participates in the Kachina tribe, who's led by Sean May. This year, I serve as the chief of the Kiwashina Boys Tribe. Ironically, I was fortunate enough to come into the tribe at a time when we had excellent leadership, a gentleman by the name of Todd Lupfer, who really made for a magical experience for my boys and really set the tone for something that we aspire to be. With respect to the boys, we have a simple theme. It's called Pals Forever. And our organization provides opportunities for fathers and sons to make unforgettable memories. For many of our dads and our boys participating in the Indian Guides, and this goes for the princesses as well, is the very first time that people will paddle a canoe, with their son or daughter, catch a fish, shoot an arrow, ride a horse, and that's just kind of a small snapshot. This year, the boys have 37 dads and 43 boys that participate as Indian guides. The princesses have probably close to 100, I would say, dads, and probably more than that, daughters. For the boys, I would say the vast majority, I would estimate 95% of our participants are from Riverside Township. All of those experiences that we have, and many times occur at campouts, but the foundation for all of those experiences starts right here in Riverside, and most often and many times at the Scout Cabin. That's where we meet, that's where we lay the foundation, we build relationships, and we do that with creative and educational agendas. Things like a few weeks ago we met and we had a rain gutter regatta project for the boys where we started at 6 o'clock, and by 8:30 the boys had built their own little sailboats and they were racing them down a inflatable raceway that we assembled at the Scout Cabin. In a few months we'll have a Pinewood Derby workshop. So instead of the boys just showing up and racing a car, they're spending time with their dads building a car from a block of wood, painting it, and we assemble a test track at the Scout Cabin. We had a first aid training and CPR training that the fire department was gracious enough to host for us down the street. Those opportunities are made possible and subsidized by the generosity and thoughtfulness of the grant that we received last year and that we hope to receive this year. The grant helps us not only reach out to and support and subsidize the residents that we have on a craft-by-craft basis, for example, helping us with the supplies, the materials that we need for these crafts, but it's also helped us in some instances to include families with financial distress that may not have been able to participate in our organization. So I will say thank you to the members of the trustees for your service to our township. Thank you for giving our organization consideration for our application. A special thanks to Trustee Lupfer for your individual contributions to our organization. And I also should say, I really greatly admire the People Care organization, and I really applaud the work that you do for our township as well. Mr. May, anything to add?
No, I think you did it perfectly. Thank you so much, Nick.
Thank you.
I make a motion to approve
Wait,
this
I have
grant.
a question.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
We can make a motion
Okay.
and, yeah, we can discuss,
Yeah. I have a motion by trustee Drapka. Do I hear a second to grant this award? Okay, I have a motion and a second, and it's open for discussion.
Oh, what are the ages of the girls and boys that serve in this?
So the official ages are kindergarten through 5th grade, but sometimes we'll have even pre-kindergartners, such as my daughter. When she was 4, she couldn't wait to go to a meeting and an event because her older brothers had done it. So sometimes we get girls as young as 4, and then technically by 5th grade they graduate out of this program, but they have another program called the Trailblazers where they could continue on. So I would say, I guess, technically 5 through about 12.
Okay,
I do have a question.
yes.
We have another service organization that comes in to ask for a grant, and they're regional. Is this money come back to Riverside Township residents?
Yes, one of the crafts we're looking at next month for the Kachina tribe is canned food drive for the Riverside Food Bank.
Right.
So one of
So
the,
for us, it's very important that the money we grant is spent on Riverside Township residents. And with your organization, that is coming back to our residents, correct?
Well, you indicated that like 95% of the participants are actually in the township.
For the boys, I can
Yeah.
speak to that.
Right.
I think I know probably the vast majority are Riverside residents. We have a couple North Riverside residents. I believe we have a couple Hollywood, a couple Brookfield, and there may be 1 or 2 that may be Stickney and maybe Downers Grove, but I would say 95%.
By and large, mostly.
With respect to the dollars, the dollars directly will go to things like renting our scout cabin. For us, for the boys, 10 meetings is about $500 a year just in scout cabin rentals alone. And then the crafts that I alluded to, such as the rain gutter regatta, the Pinewood Derby, we do pumpkin carving, those are direct dollars that are, physically the residents of the township are putting their hands on.
Very good, thank you.
Tom, it says in that first page that 81 individuals, 71 are township residents for the boys, and for the girls, 106, 97 are township residents.
Yeah, I'm just making sure it's not a Boy Scout situation, that it is coming directly back through the nonprofit to our local community chapters.
Okay. Any other questions? Then I'll call for the vote. Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes.
Trustee Lupfer?
I have to abstain.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes,
Motion is carried.
thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
And may I add, they have a Little League meeting at 7:30, so with your permission, I'd
Go
like
right
to
in.
excuse
No, you're-
myself. and
Yeah,
attend the-
if you're done with your presentation, you can go
Thank you.
anywhere. All right, thank you.
Okay, next.
Our next grant request is for the huge sum of $415.99. And it comes from the Riverside Public Library and the CSA GSI collection. Would you like to speak to it, please, Jan?
I am Janice Foley, and I'm the director of the Riverside Public Library, and I'm representing both of our grants today. The first one is actually with SACSI, which is the Czech-Slovak American Genealogy Society, who 5 years ago moved their collection from Cicero into the library. And originally, the emphasis was on the Czech, nationality and genealogical resources. But since then, the collection has grown to include all ethnic groups, and local history from Riverside is being incorporated into it. We get many people who come in wanting to do family histories, and we have a lot of the electronic resources to do it. The reason why we're asking for this grant is that we've had a lot of people who give us their family histories after they've done it, and we want to be able to digitize it and make it available because, other branches of the family may want it, and it's not going to do any good in paper files, but if we digitize it, we could put it on our website, et cetera. And so we're asking for a scanner, and also it's a photo scanner, which would allow residents of Riverside or anyone who comes into the library to scan and fix old family photos that they want to save. And then the other part of the grant is for OCR software, which would allow the searching capabilities for anything that's scanned. We don't have a budget line for SACSI, so anything we get is usually, to enhance it, would be through donations or individual donations, so.
So Janice, you actually have two different grants in our packet.
The other one is for the library. This was more SACSI related because of the genealogy collection, and the other one is for the Children and Youth Services Department.
So this SACSI one, it's gonna be at the library here?
Yes.
So right in
Yes,
the township?
yes.
So is it mainly township residents that use this? Or is it anybody can come in?
Sometimes we get people who used to live here and come back after they've moved away, but the majority, I know that many of the residents and the volunteers are either in Riverside or Riverside Township. It's obviously the local history aspect, which we're trying to incorporate, would directly relate to Riverside and Riverside Township.
I think we might be addressing the same thing, that we can't make the check out to the
Right.
library.
Yeah,
Right, so-
I'm
that-
confused about this I'm
Oh.
completely with you here. I think all of this should be one grant, because I personally,
Well, this one is.
This is
well,
one
no,
grant.
I'm talking about the following.
The other grant too?
Because my understanding here is that this machine, the
Yes.
scanning machine, right, is gonna be your property.
Correct.
Okay, so it's not gonna be CSA GSI's property.
The only reason why I included them in is because the library is called the SACSI Paul M. Nemechek Library at the Riverside Public Library.
So it's a library within a library?
It's it's a genealogy library within our library, and we're incorporating the local history aspect that is already part of our
So
collection.
this machine, though,
Will
is
be-
gonna be yours?
Yes, it will become because we technically have
But the catalyst for it is
control
they-
of the collection. The reason why I did it separately too is because I didn't, since I'm wearing both hats, I'm kind of in charge of the SACSI collection from the library point of view. I didn't want it to affect the fact that we also have other needs in the library, in the departments that are, truly not related to the collection, but would still be valuable.
Well, and here's the other thing, as trustee Clark was about to explain, we can't write a check from one taxing body to another taxing body, and therefore, what we typically do in a case like this is, we'll order it for delivery to you and we pay for
And
the item instead.
I remember that being the case for other times, but the way it was worded, I guess I misunderstood,
I think it's
thinking
the
that.
second page that kind
Yes,
of
okay,
explains
yeah. No,
that.
I'm fully aware of
Right,
that.
right.
I'm fully aware, and that's
Okay.
why I included the pages on the equipment and the
Absolutely,
software.
absolutely.
I understand.
Yeah, no, and I do understand why you're separating these grants, because you don't want one to affect the other.
Exactly.
They're for different
Totally
purposes,
different, right,
really.
right.
So
But why can't you just ask for 858 plus the 415 all in one grant, and this is what we're buying with that amount of money?
Well, they
But
could, but
but-
they chose not to, in case somebody didn't feel that one was a worthy purchase and the other one was.
Right.
They simply
Right.
chose to make it,
Right, I didn't
Two
want to
applications.
assume that
Sure.
you would find.
It's just the way it looks like here, the way it's filled out. Yeah, I'm glad that you're explaining it to me, but the way it looks like here, it looks like this machine is going to be CSA GSI's property, and I want to make sure that that's not the case. That this is going to be Riverside Public Library property for the Riverside Township residents.
It is.
And you know what, then if CSA GSI want to uses it,
Right.
that's fine, but if another person is using it, then they can't be, you know what I mean?
All the collection, all of the physical items are actually property of the library now. That was part of the agreement. We just, like I said, I did it because I saw it as a separate entity of the Children and Youth Services Department, and I didn't want to, on the scheme of things, I didn't want to assume that both would be, because they are totally different requests for different kind of items.
Is there a time crunch on these grants?
Is there a time crunch on these grants?
Yeah, if we don't grant them now, I think there's a couple questions, if there are.
I don't know, I mean, they're not huge amounts. I think it was just, why separate the two applications? And I think with the understanding and with the explanation of the additional nonprofit group that was the catalyst, as I say, for this
Right.
particular activity, because there's a specific purpose for this scanner, unlike other scanners, because it will gather information a little differently, and perhaps the library will be able to use it for other purposes.
Well, scanning a photo, any person who comes into the library will be able to use it. It will
So
be
you don't now have a scanner for this?
only
kind
one
of thing?
attached to a computer.
Okay.
And so this would be downstairs in the section that's devoted to the genealogy library area.
I make a motion that we grant the $415.99 to the Riverside Public Library for the scanner, with the caveat that we buy the scanner and have it delivered to you, so we can't make the check out to you.
Right.
That's fine.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by trustee Clark, seconded by trustee Heilenbach, that we grant the $415.99 grant application for the scanner, primarily for the genealogy library, but to be used by the library in general, and to be purchased directly by the township for you.
As well as the software, which is included in the total?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's the 415.
Yes, they were both, yeah.
It's all in there.
Okay.
So we'll order the software too, then, right? Or,
Right, well,
Or does it
we
collect
always
scanner,
work that
whatever?
out.
Good, yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Some vendors allow them to order it and invoice us, some we order directly through, whether it's Amazon or whatever, and pay with our credit card immediately. Okay, is there any other discussion for this grant? Hearing none, clerk, oops, you have something?
Yeah, we are sticklers for the forms being filled out correctly, but since we have a pre-existing condition, I don't have an objection to it. But if we are gonna be sticklers, I'd like to see,
What I'm going to ask is, there's a second page to the grant that we'll ask you to.
Okay.
To complete and fill out, because it acknowledges that, we don't, we don't have any property rights to the item, but that we're purchasing it
Sure.
for you and so forth.
I thought that was after it was granted, so that's
Right.
why I didn't fill it out.
I understand. Yeah,
I
it
didn't
is.
wanna-
a little-
again, I didn't wanna
It
make
is
it
a little
something-
confusing, and one day
Okay.
we'll have clear
We'll figure it out.
applications for everything. Okay. So, hearing no other objections, Clerk Blau, will you please call the roll on this?
Trustee Clark.
Yes.
Trustee Drapka.
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach.
Yes.
Trustee Lupfer.
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you, and if you will stay right there, we will discuss the second grant application, which is in the amount of $858, and would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but we are currently in renovation for the early learners section of the library, which is downstairs. It's an enclosed area for birth through 5-year-olds, and it's away from the stairs, so they won't be trying to climb the stairs. It also has better coverage, so the noise level will not go up. The Friends donated money for new shelving. We had fundraised enough to do the actual, but our iPads, which are currently used by that age group, are near death. And we would like to be able to provide 2 new iPads, so the young kids can then, in the new section, have these iPads to make use of. Literally, they probably wear them. I mean, I think these current ones are 3 or 4 years old, so they have definitely gotten their wear and tear. But unfortunately, we don't have a lot of extra money in that budget with the construction, so we were hoping that. And obviously, it would benefit the Riverside or any of the people who come into the library. And it is only for the birth through 5-year-olds, so it is for kids. The iPads are for the kids only.
Are these the extra durable ones for kids? I think they used to make some, no, seriously, they used to
They
make.
have nice covers and you
Right.
have games.
Safety,
and-
right.
That they can still manage better than I can.
How old are the old iPads?
They're 3 or 4 years old.
2012, it says.
So 12, then it's older, okay. I mean, they've gotten used, and one was donated to us, already used, so it was.
And you haven't bought any of these as of yet, Janice?
No, we have not.
Okay, good.
No.
Because it says make the check out the Riverside.
Right.
Again, I believe we got confused by, in the past, I know that you have purchased things, so I do apologize for that.
No, don't.
I make a motion that we grant the Riverside Public Library $858 for 2 new iPads with the stipulation that we buy them and.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by trustee Clark, seconded by trustee Lupfer, to grant the $858 grant for iPads for youth services, with the proviso that the township will buy them directly rather than writing a check to the library. Is there any other discussion? Then I will ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Clark.
Yes.
Trustee Drapka.
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach.
Yes.
Trustee Lupfer.
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt.
Yes,
Motion is carried.
very good.
Thank you, and I just wanted to, I know in the past, we have had food drop-offs or fines for foods to benefit the township pantry if you need to. We are always welcome, if you need that.
We always welcome
Thank you.
donations. Thank you very
Janice.
much.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. All right, and next up is the Riverside Presbyterian Church Little Food Pantry.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Tara Gregus here from the Riverside Presbyterian Church. And I've put in another request for $1,000. I was here the last time for our first grant, and we were very appreciative and happy to receive the gift cards from all the food stores from the township And the materials I've provided are fairly similar to what I provided the last time, with the addition of the first page behind the application is a budget that we've prepared, spending approximately $200 per month it shows what we can buy at Aldi for $200 per month. That does not, I won't say it doesn't come close to giving us enough food, but it does not give us enough food for what we have been putting in the food pantry. We've been putting in much more than that. Some of the additional food that we've been putting in there comes from donations from the community, also donations from our church members. We do buy more than that, but that's what we were trying to budget. We're stocking the pantry every single day. We have someone designated to stock it every day, but we are not filling it because we're not physically filling it. We're kind of trying to make it look full, but we cannot fill it because we just can't afford to.
So let me just point out an irony, because today, people from your church came over with food to donate to our pantry.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's strange. I wonder if they got
Wasn't there
a
a
big
recent drive or something?
I don't know anything about that.
I
Someone
went-
from our church
I
did?
went, well, that's, okay. I hope it was actually, I could have sworn she said Riverside Presbyterian Church. Now, it's possible that it was one of the other churches that did that.
Okay. I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
Because I just.
You don't have a certain
is it?
day of the month or a certain,
No, 'cause
there wasn't
just-
an organization that had a drive?
Just last Friday, last
Okay.
Friday, I picked up the produce from Aldi. Twice a week on Mondays and Fridays, Aldi donates produce
Right.
to us.
Right.
And I picked up the produce on Friday, and so when I pick up produce, then that's my day to stock the food pantry. And we did not have an excess of.
Okay, I should not misspeak. I
Yeah.
could have sworn that was who they said that.
I'm not
they
saying
were
it
with.
wasn't, I just know nothing about that, so that's
Okay.
news to me.
All right.
So that's the information about sort of the canned foods and the little food pantry. I know that we were getting the donated produce when I was here last, and I believe we had our refrigerator. I don't know if I talked about that. We started getting, I approached Aldi in the spring, I think it was probably March or April, and this was the Aldi in Stickney, and they were giving us produce, and it has evolved. At first, we were getting so much we didn't know what to do with it, and then we started having a little bit of a rodent problem, and it worked out well in the spring that we didn't really need refrigeration. We just put it out on a rack, but we thought in the summer, what are we gonna do? So we purchased a refrigerator, a mini kind of a beverage refrigerator. And we have an outlet out there, and it's worked out great so far. We fit as much, and we've got it down to, we pick up produce on Monday and Friday. And we have a sign up that says produce will be available at 10 a.m. and there are people that come at 10 a.m. to pick up produce. I usually have more than I can fill up the fridge with, but usually by the time I'm unloading and filling up the fridge, 2 or 3 people are there and they take enough so that I can fit everything else in the fridge. One thing, and that's the next page in my materials, that we would like to do is to purchase a second fridge. We haven't done that yet because we haven't been able to afford it. This is a picture of the fridge that we have purchased. It's $279.99 from Amazon. So I'm here requesting $1,000, whether that's in the form of $1,000 in Aldi gift cards would be totally fine because we will purchase food. If the township agrees to grant us that and would prefer to purchase a refrigerator for us, that is wonderful as well.
Didn't you say you already purchased this one?
We have one, we want to get another
Oh,
one,
I
a
see,
second
okay.
one.
Okay, so this one, you haven't purchased the second
We have
one.
not purchased a second one. We also purchased, the one thing we get is we do get individual rolls, individually wrapped rolls of toilet paper. We don't buy that from Aldi, we get it from Amazon. And so Amazon gift cards would be fine also because we spend a decent amount of money getting that from Amazon also. Half and half or 3 and, any whatever you all would like to do is fine with us if you choose to give us the grant.
So, just so I'm clear on this, you're asking for $1,000.
Yes,
So, so part of that $1,000 that we grant you, if we
Yes.
decide to do this, you would spend $279.99 on the refrigerator,
yes.
which basically leaves $700
Right.
to get food.
Right. Now, one of the reasons we're asking for $1,000, and I guess I'm a little confused based on hearing the other presentations, is I thought that was the limit of what we could ask for. I was a little confused about that.
I think you can ask for $10,000
Oh,
a
okay.
year.
A year, okay, that's fine.
Is that correct?
Basically, I mean, we haven't put a specific cap, but we reserve the right to limit how many, and we don't do more than 2 grants a year is more.
I do understand that, which is why I came back right away, because I understand your calendar year and then our calendar year. So I was trying to get this second grant in our calendar year, which will end December 31st, then I know I can't come back until like next August or something.
April would be
Oh,
our next fiscal year.
That's
Our
when it
fiscal year
starts,
starts in
okay.
But we
So
quit
I
grants
wouldn't be able to
in
come
May.
back and.
Pardon? We don't do grants in April, right? We do them in May,
Right, but I mean, our
February,
fiscal
May.
year starts in
And-
April.
okay.
Yeah. you
So
come back in
I
May.
get that I couldn't come
Right,
back until
until
then,
May,
I
yeah.
understand that.
Right.
So,
All right.
in any event, that's, and also we've started these community dinners, which I'm not asking for money for that, but just, that's another outreach to the community. We're doing them once a month. Again, there's no religious affiliation with them, it's just, there's a
open.
sign by the little food pantry that just says, and I put our flyer there, that, again, kind of with the connection and the loneliness thing, which I read that, I saw that study, that it's worse than cigarette smoking is social isolation. I saw that same exact thing. And it said whether you hunger for food, good conversation, or the chance to meet others, come join us. And it started out small. I think we had like 3 people at the first one, but the last one we had 11. And so we're just doing it once a month, and there's no, like I said, there's no religious aspect to it. We're just saying, come join us for a meal, and we're just doing it once a month. But it's just a potluck thing, and we're getting some lots of folks, well, 11 the last time, but we were encouraged. And we were talking about doing maybe a coat drive in conjunction with it in the winter months in case people need things. And I always try to just talk to the folks that come up, and sometimes people are a little reluctant, or they kind of are hanging back when exactly. And I say, hi, how are you? Come on, we have raspberries today, or come on up, we've got mushrooms, what do you need? Take some more, and, how are you doing? And try to at least engage them and not make them feel ashamed that they're coming to get food. And talk to them. And hopefully that helps. I think that, if we can take a little of the stigma out of people coming to the food pantry, that's my hope. So,
Very good. What is your pleasure, board?
Questions?
What was the problem that we had when the last time was here, and we had to give them Aldi gift cards?
Because writing a check to a church was considered kind of an awkward situation for a government
Okay,
agency.
so, I mean, on this thing with the Amazon Prime, we could write a check to Amazon Prime.
Right, typically what we do when somebody wants to order it that way is we just order it for delivery to the location.
And if we were do the balance in Aldi gift cards again, that's what we would do, am I correct?
Yes.
and that would be totally fine with us.
Okay.
So I move that we accept.
Hold on.
More questions?
Hold on there.
You can ask questions after a motion, too.
Yeah, you can ask.
Yeah, discussion.
There,
It's really a simple question.
If the questions are for her, we do it now.
So
and
Tara,
then-
the time of this, from 5 to 11:15?
Yes, we were doing them at 5, but this way we're getting more because it's after worship service, then we have people at church anyway. So people are just already there, where there was lower attendance when it was a evening dinner. So now it's just kind of our coffee fellowship time, so we're just doing it as a potluck once a month. And that seems to have worked better. And that way, more people in the church are aware of it who might not come back to church later in the evening.
So, do we have a motion on this?
Well, trustee
So
Lupfer had
I
a
move
question
that we
too.
accept the
Sorry.
Riverside Presbyterian Church and the Little Food Pantry grant in the amount of $1,000.
Is that, do we need to specify whether the 300 of that goes to the refrigerator and then the 700, or?
If you would like us to purchase that, or, then that would be the way, or if you want me to split the gift cards
Yeah.
between Amazon and the
Yeah.
Aldi ones, we could do that too.
May I amend my request? Is that, can we do that, or you do,
We'll be
okay?
fine.
Maybe 300,
Can you
700?
amend that, trustee Lumford?
So- Go ahead.
As suggested, amended as suggested.
Okay,
Second.
okay, so let me understand, what is the motion now? Is the motion for us to purchase the refrigerator or
Yes.
to split the gift cards?
I would like to purchase the refrigerator and then give
gift
the
cards.
Aldi gift cards with the remaining money.
Okay, so the motion is that we purchase the refrigerator from Amazon as requested and give the balance in Aldi gift cards. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, is there any other discussion of that motion?
I do have a little bit of discussion. I think that the last year and a half of our work here in the township has brought up the Riverside Presbyterian Church, the farmer's market, the community garden, and I'd really like to see the community, all these people fighting the issue of hunger in our community, come together and figure out a way that we can coordinate our efforts and really address this issue in a bigger, broader, more aggressive way. So we have the food pantry and that kind of thing. So I don't know what the,
Perhaps just calling together the various groups that we know fight hunger and have
Right.
some kind of a forum to see how we can help each other.
Trustee Lupfer tried that. You sent an email, and I was the only one who responded, so. Oh,
she
you did?
responded.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I'm
I
getting
didn't
it
get- I
on
don't
the
know if I got
record
that.
if you don't know.
Sorry.
I think it was just, a busy time for.
It was in the summer, but
So.
Maybe in the winter, we can all
We
get our
can all
heads
get
together.
together and maybe figure out a plan for the upcoming year.
When people aren't actually working the community garden, maybe they'll,
Right,
they'll
right.
have time to come.
There's a time and place for everything, and
yeah,
Yes.
time and place for this will be January, February.
Okay,
good.
very good, then we will look
I
at
think
that.
this is great.
Yeah.
That we're addressing this need in our community.
Yeah, I was thrilled when I was here last time because I didn't know anything about the community garden. And then I started seeing more information in the community about it. So I think that was a great effort as well. Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Thank you.
Clerk Blau, would you call the roll,
So
the
sorry.
the vote?
Not done.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes.
Trustee Lupfer?
Yes,
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes,
Motion is carried.
No, thank you.
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm just making notes to myself before we move on. All righty,
I'll make a
Thank you.
motion that we approve this special use application for March 21st.
okay, I have a motion to grant the room request for special use to Mrs. Sitkowitz.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Any questions? Yes, it is.
We might have to increase our deposit. I think that's gonna be a wild bunch.
All right. Then, Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll on that?
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes.
Trustee Lupfer?
Yes,
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes,
Motion is carried.
very good. The next is basically to bring you a little bit up to date on the situation with the elevator. I've given you the quotes that I have, but of course, we have to go to public bids on something like this. And I still have a call out, because there was a bit of a misunderstanding. Actually, Anderson is the one that services our elevator, but they recommended we reach out to Collie as well to see if they could repair it to bring it into use, and then also we would go out for the modernization. But this is, you can see there's a ballpark, we have an idea of what this would be. You can see that on Collie, they also have the secondary option to add, that would add to the bottom line. The upper quotes are, the 67.5 is for the actual modernization without doing the valve and power unit, because those are functioning. However, as you can see, you never know, so that would be an option as well. I do have the law firm working on pulling together bids, but I did call Collie back and ask, because Anderson actually followed up and said, gee, was Collie able to find the parts so that you could get it up and running? And when I reached out to Collie, they said, well, when somebody else has the service contract, we don't like to do that. So I'm trying to get them to understand, look, they referred me to you because they can't get the parts, but maybe you do because you deal with more of such elevators. Anyway, it's a work in progress, and we will be putting out for bids in the not too distant future to modernize the elevator, because this business of having it not functioning in a 3-story building is not acceptable.
Well, do we need to, have a special meeting about this then and get going here? I mean, are we gonna?
Well, she's gotta put it out for bid.
It's gotta go out to bid.
So then,
After the bids process comes in, we may want to.
yeah, and I'm not sure what the timeline on that is going to be. I'm not sure how long it has to be out there. That's why I've called on our law firm, because this is the first time I would be actually putting out for a public bid. And, both of these companies are well aware that we have to do it that way, and that, it has to be prevailing wage and so forth and so on. So, and actually the village gave me the name of one more, so I would make sure that they're aware of the public bid, but we would be publishing it, and I don't know what we'll get.
So I have a couple questions about this. Is there a quick fix that we can do to get it running?
So that's why I gave you the
The inspection.
still a third, yeah, the inspectors are from Thompson Elevator, and that's the third party within all of this. And as a matter of fact, Anderson has said, you know what, before we would put out a bid, we would want to make sure that Thompson comes back and does a pre-build inspection to say, yes, that what we're proposing would actually be to their satisfaction. So, I mean, I'm trying to blend all of these factors into it. The thought was, Thompson thought that we could just fix these 2 items. The problem is those parts to coordinate with the equipment we have just don't exist.
They're obsolete.
Yes.
So we have to replace our elevator system.
Pretty much, almost a full replacement. The cab
Retrofit,
itself would
I-
not be, yeah,
yeah.
but pretty much to modernize it, because to get to some of these things like the
The valve and the power unit.
the valve and power unit are additional. Those are actually functioning. It was called to my attention that, there could be a problem if it was installed before a certain date, because there were some factors that weren't code then, but it was after that date, so it should all be code. That should not be an issue. But, I wish we could just fix this, and I'm asking Collie to get it put back into service, but I still think that it's in a situation where even if we get it back and running, we need to modernize, because the alarm systems are different now, the smoke detection systems are different. You know, all of the controls are different. We really need to bring it up to speed.
I think instead of piecemealing it back together, which it seems that, that's, could be the case here, we should get it all modernized, get it done,
Let's go.
and
Yeah.
move it forward.
Let's
Right.
just get a brand new one, let's go.
Right.
Right?
Especially since we're renting out our building.
But do you notice the timeline? 23 weeks?
Well, no, actually, and I
Yeah.
questioned that.
That
It's
you
not
don't put
23.
things out for
It's actually,
23.
it's the,
It's like 10 days or something.
15 days, I think
Yeah.
it said.
well, that's for the actual service. It's the ordering all of the parts, and that timeline is not 23 weeks. It's actually, that, because I questioned that. It is more like the 12 weeks. Some of those happen simultaneously.
Okay.
So it's not like one happens after the other. Well, let's look at 15 weeks is probably what we're looking at.
Vera, can we address this issue in our next letter, just saying, you know, we know this is a long time, but, you know, we're doing the best our can to
Right.
get this, because, people are, astonished, I would have to say, that we're not getting it fixed sooner. And,
Right.
you know, I tried to explain to them, it's because they have to make the parts.
Right, the parts
you
just,
know.
yeah.
And that's why, it's not that we're falling down on the job or
Right.
anything like that, but this is.
And I
just a-
wish it was actually just making the parts, but because some of it is controls and they're electronic controls, the system that runs it can't even read the modern controls that they want us to put in. That's why we need to renovate the whole thing, so.
50-year-old.
Well, it's a 40-year-old, yeah, 40-year-old equipment, yeah,
It's gonna take time and a lot of.
right.
I agree, let's not piecemeal, let's just get it fixed so it will run for another 40 years.
Right,
The one thing I'd like to bring up is that not piecemealing things, I hate doing that, but it appears to me that fixing things when they break is piecemealing it. So I would love to see an inspection of the building with our systems, our everything that we're going to incur in the next 20, 30, 40 years. Deferred maintenance, as I do a lot of churches, and they defer their maintenance constantly, and it'll cost them $100,000 to repair something that would normally cost them 20. So is the holistic inspection of the building something that's on our horizon? Or are we just gonna put out fires as they come up?
I mean, I would like to do that, I don't even know where to start.
I know.
No, I
terms of-
think, I think we have done some things, like the bridge. We
Right.
discussed in the spring, the bridge is going to have to be painted.
Right,
And the maintenance done on that. We've set up a fund for the roof, because we know the roof is coming
Exactly.
along with the gutters. We've discussed tuck pointing. So I do see where trustee Lupfer's point is
yeah,
on that.
right,
But I do think that we have started to work that way, we should continue to work that way. I mean, I know the boiler system here, I mean, we had some gas leaks also, I think you probably covered that in your discussion. So, I mean, there's things there that, I agree with trustee Lupfer that we should start looking down the line. I mean, we've addressed some of them,
Right.
but we should address, even more, I mean, top to bottom.
Right, top to bottom, put it in the budget, figure it out for the next 20,
Those are
30
the
years.
bathrooms,
Well,
The
yeah.
bathrooms, yeah, we discussed the bathrooms,
Right.
right. So, I mean, there's several projects that we
Okay.
can do.
Very good, I will look for someone that can give us that whole
Put that on
analysis,
your,
yeah.
to-do list.
Very good. Okay, so that's just to bring you up to speed. Tax levy, next month we'll be considering that. You see, yeah, you see what the Mental Health Board is requesting. I am looking at requesting that same rate for the general funds, but not for general assistance. I want to keep, I don't want to increase general assistance. We're not using what we've got now. And I don't think there's any need to do that. So those are the three funds that we levy for. It's the mental health, the general funds, and the general assistance. So Unless you want to see some other numbers, I don't think we need, even like, I'm looking at what our reserves are, and I'm not worried about paying for this elevator or things like that, so.
Yeah, we budgeted our money, we planned on some of this stuff.
And we've been underspending on a lot of things, we've been saving, so I think we're okay there. So if that's all right with you, is what the proposal will be next month. Okay?
Is their tax levy increase the max?
No, the
It-
CPI was 1.9%. We went with 1.7%. That will balance our budget. We will cut into that 6-month reserve that we like to keep by maybe $10,000. So we're probably right on mark, especially with the new programs that we have going, which I'll discuss tonight, and also the ones that we want to do in the future. So 1.7, keeping it below the CPI.
Yeah, definitely. The increased activity of the mental health board is laudable and commendable, and I support it. So I'm not a stickler for the tax to the max, and I really appreciate you guys coming in under it.
Yeah, we're trying. I mean, you know, we manage our money very, very closely, so.
And this would be a perfect example
We'll
of,
talk about that.
yeah.
All right.
All right, very good. On to item E. This is for your information and to see if you think we should participate in this. They've reached out for us to participate in the Chicago Scots Caledonia Senior Living, their little high street market. We don't have anything to sell, but we can certainly have an informational table there about some of the senior programs that we offer. Is this something that you would like us to go forward with?
Go for it.
Absolutely.
I can tell you I'm not available that day to help. So,
I'm sure that we can man it. I don't know what kind of, they also were obviously looking for sponsors. I don't know if you want to contribute anything towards it or just participate.
they didn't really request
Yeah, it's-
sponsorship and, you know, they would have to fill out a grant application.
Right.
Right, and they did not.
Or do they not for a sponsor? We
No,
didn't really request, they
Yeah,
just request
right.
our
Right.
participation.
let's participate if we can.
That's what,
Okay, we'll just participate now, and if we see that it's a really good thing, then we can invite them to ask for a grant in the future. All right. Then I've shared with all of you something that Trustee Dropka has brought to our attention, this Elgin Area Men's Shed Program, kind of an example of another kind of outreach to community that might be a good thing for a township to provide. This is something that I presume here that it needs the cooperation of someone with a workshop or something like that, so that these men can gather for that kind of work. I will tell you that in one of these senior communities that I have some extended family living in, I know that the men there, they actually have an outreach program, so these older men do all these little wood shop and that kind of thing, and they actually take it to schools, and they help provide the kids with some programs. They'll, take it to different schools in their community, and you've got the youth and the seniors interacting and teaching them how to properly, measure and hammer things together and so forth.
Nice.
Yeah,
I would be interested in seeing a little more about it.
okay.
So do we have somebody that's part of the organization that?
That's all I got there. I don't really have any more
Yeah,
information.
so I mean.
Okay, I'll try to
You
reach
can
out.
reach out to Gary. His phone number is there
Okay,
and his email.
um,
To combat social isolation.
yeah,
but,
Yeah.
and you know too that there's a real need for the trades. Now, I see,
Yeah.
always
Oh,
I'm
absolutely
seeing
there
article
is.
that, we're not increasing kids to go into the trades. So this probably is a real need
And
to
the trades are doing all the unions and a lot of the owners' organizations are trying to have programs to reach out and get that. And maybe that's something that we should look at. We don't do a lot for our youth. Maybe we need to bring in the different trades and have some kind of a career opportunity day.
That'd be a great idea.
As a tradesman, I agree. My 93-year-old father lives in a really beautiful retirement community in Florida, and the most sought-after programming they have is the shop, is them going down and sort of lacking a table and turning a lathe. And so this is, again, Mike, it goes, Trustee Dropka, it goes right to that social isolation, getting the seniors
Get 'em out.
up with other people. So however we can support this kind of initiative, I'd be happy to. I have lots of connections in the trades, so.
Yeah, as I do
Yeah.
too.
Right.
So I could get, several of the trades to come
Something
by.
to look at.
Something to look at in the
Drop
future.
Gary an email. Drop this guy an email.
Well, that's your problem.
You drop it.
I'm a little busy.
He brought us a brochure. His
I'm the facilitator here. and see?
No, facilitator actually
Can
gets more.
facilitate something else.
Great idea, Trustee Dropka.
The only thing I have a problem, or a question about is, do we have the space for it?
Well, I don't know that it's
And I don't
anything that
know-
we.
that's why we
it's
need
not-
more information.
Right, exactly, and I don't see this as something we would do on our site.
Okay.
Couldn't
I-
we utilize RV maybe? Don't they have a
Riverside
workshop?
Garage could do once a month, I could do one, there's
Right, I mean,
plenty of tradesmen who would jump on it.
Right, now, that would be to do this senior kind of program where
Right.
people could get out, and, maybe the public works of the communities could open up their garages for something like this,
And Riverside has their old Recs department open now.
Yeah, it's something to look at.
Just a little more information. I
Right,
think. That'd
right,
be
okay, I'm asking if that's something you'd want me to
Definitely.
get more on. All right. Next item is this notice that we received from North Riverside Recreation. They are doing a Spratum Fest apparently now. So in place of the canceled one, they're having a mac and cheese competition. Not sure what else will be part of that, but wondered if our cooks who do chili are interested in participating in this mac and cheese.
Although I'm disappointed that we won't be doing chili, I'm willing to take on
All right.
that responsibility,
Okay, well then I will let them know.
along with Trustee Dropka.
A point of order, mac and cheese can include chili.
That's true. It could be a chili mac and cheese.
Chili mac and cheese.
I think we're gonna have to wait for the official rules.
So trustee Eilenbach, you are volunteering to make the mac and cheese with trustee Dropka?
Yes, he is.
Sure.
I mean, is that what you just said, or did I
Yes,
miss?
sure.
Okay, all right, we'll be looking forward to having it.
Trustee Dropka, you're in, right, my man?
I said
Well,
sure for him.
I will let them know that we would be interested. And maybe they'll be coming up with some rules and then we can judge further. So I will let them know that we would be interested in participating. The last item I don't have any material for. In looking at, and we've discussed this before, looking at the participation in our holiday meals, Christmas drops off a great deal. And we weren't sure if it was because people just don't want a ham, if they have other opportunities, or, if, last year we had some leftover turkeys, so we actually gave the first few people, until we got rid of the turkeys, we gave them the option of ham or turkey. We just don't get as many people who participate. It occurred to me that perhaps instead of going out and shopping for all this food that then we are trying to find a home for, if I spoke with Riverside Foods and they would be willing to participate in a voucher program so that we could instead give people a voucher, they can go shop for what they want. I thought perhaps, so it's not just, here's a piece of paper, that maybe I would purchase, say, frozen pies or, you know, something, some part of the meal that they could actually walk away with and then go shopping, you know, for the things that they would like for a holiday meal. And the amount that we spend on the ham with the sides is probably in the $25 to $30 per household.
that's it?
But,
Wow.
pardon?
That's
Yeah.
all?
Yeah,
I was thinking a
it's,
lot more than that.
the hams are a little more expensive, but, you know, so probably under 30, I would say, with all the sides that we normally purchase. So I wondered if you would have any objection if that's the way I go this year. For Thanksgiving, we do have turkeys on order, and the pickup is going to be this coming Friday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. And of course, people have to let us know they're coming, so we make sure that we've got enough. But I have 42 on order, which has been kind of the average, and,
And they get all the fixings with that, or the
they get all, they
sides.
they get all the sides. They get sweet potatoes and rolls and green beans and cranberry sauce and all that.
I think that it'd be great to give them a voucher at Christmas and, you know, let's test it out this year and make sure that that's what they really use. I mean, that's the part, you know, are they really
Well,
gonna
that's
use
it.
it?
And that's why we also, in the office, we talked about, well, maybe gift cards. But gift cards, we're just giving them out and we don't know if they use them. We don't know if they get lost. This way, on the vouchers, Riverside Foods is already used to, we have a running account with them. They, you know, they bill us periodically if we've picked up water or whatever else we need here that we run out for. They then invoice us. So, you know, we would pay them that way.
Why don't we try it?
I
Okay,
agree. Well,
Why
let's
don't we
try
just
it.
try it and see what happens?
okay.
So,
And you're fine with, say, a $25 voucher and some item
$30
of
voucher.
I think
$30?
30.
30, okay, okay.
And would we be specifying?
I actually, wait, I would go with Tim, 35.
$35.
That will give them
Okay.
a little, maybe for a couple leftovers.
And should I get either a dessert or maybe a box of chocolates or something like that to go with it, so it's like, feels like a present?
Sure,
Fine with that.
sure.
All right.
It's Fannie Mae, don't let
By the
them-
way, we have in our budget an amount to put into the food pantry, which we haven't done in the last few years. I think I'm going to do that so that we don't feel stressed on the food pantry
Yeah,
side.
that's
Okay,
what,
that's fine.
so I would think a pie or some chocolate.
Would we restrict the purchases? Would we say it is for these, that, and the other?
You know, if it's to a store like Riverside Foods, that, you know, I mean,
Right. They have
we
a lot
can
of
say no
alcohol.
alcohol.
Right.
I don't really think it's an issue for most of our food pantry people, but, you know, that's, they would use it all up anyway on that, you know, food.
So while we're on the subject, I have talked to Peter and Dennis over at Tischler's, and they both love the idea of continuing the voucher program that we started with the farmer's market. They understand that there would have to be a lot more restrictions on it, because they do sell alcohol, they do sell
Right,
cigarettes, and that
right.
kind of thing, so. Maybe that might be something we'd wanna look at for the next meeting.
Okay, all righty. We could kick that off in the new year then.
Keep it local.
Right, absolutely. All right, I will do that then, thank you. Do you want to vote on that?
I'll make a motion to fill in the blank.
To do a
Give
voucher
Chris-
program for Christmas at
At
$35?
$35 at
Who's making the
Riverside
motion?
Foods.
Tom.
A second.
Trustee Lupfer, seconded by trustee Clark. Any more discussion? Then we are voting to approve a $35 voucher to Riverside Foods with some other item that's festive, pie or chocolate, for our food pantry people for Christmas. Any questions? Then please call the vote.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Lupfer?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Okay, thank you. All right, just some wrap up, some information. Farmers market totals, at our last full board meeting. I reported that we had a big rush on the last day, or we were expecting a big rush on the last day, and indeed we had issued 190 total vouchers and 104 were redeemed. And so that I thought was very good. Let's see. I did attend the TAC Trustees Division, as did Trustee Heilenbach. They had an interesting program on the new cannabis law that will take effect the first of the year, and its impact on townships, mostly because we don't deal with a lot of, zoning ordinances or anything like that. The biggest consideration for us is in human resources. Problematic being that there's no test at the level like there is for alcohol. And that it was recommended that, we have some policy in our handbooks, which I will update you on momentarily. But the problem is, even if you have a policy of no consumption during office hours, the way that it stays in the system for as long as it does, it could be legal for them to do it on their own time, and then you have no way. So really, they stressed, and it was a law firm that had done quite a bit of studying of other states and how their laws have been effectuated, and they recommended that if there's a problem, and the suspicion is that's what it is, that you really need to do kind of a field sobriety test the same way you would do with alcohol, but because there's no breathalyzer or anything like that to go along with it. There was some of that discussion at the toy conference as well, so we're looking at that. Since I mentioned the HR manual, the way that we had that set up, I just quite frankly haven't had the time. It was a take from the menu, pull different things and pull it together, but I haven't not done that. But we recently met with Paychecks, and we're actually changing up the HR support that we have. They're changing up the HR support, and they actually have somebody who will come out and create one for us. And it's a very reasonable thing, and we can pay for those services only for the months until it's completed. So it's really going to be cheaper than what we've been paying for, what we didn't have. They've always been there to answer questions if we have any challenges on HR, but this is something that, I hope that by very early in the new year, we will have a new employees manual. The bank issue that I mentioned, we had some fraud on our account. It has been resolved in our favor in that the bank credited us back for all of that. They haven't really said what, if they're going after this person, but they admitted that it was a transaction that should not have been allowed. And to prevent anything like that in the future, we now participate. I'm paying a small fee monthly for something they call positive pay. So basically what's going to happen is every time we issue checks, when there's a volume of checks, we submit an online report to them, so that when those checks come in, they already are expecting it by the number and the amount. And that way up until now, they had been, until we agreed to that positive pay program, I was getting a call every time a check was presented, and after that fraud, they were checking, okay, is this one okay, is this one okay? So we now, when there's a volume of checks, and then there's a way to go in, if we write individual checks, if we pay a utility bill here or there, we send those, we put it right into the system so they don't have to call. So anything that is not pre-authorized, like a pre-authorized ACH, like we do with payroll and like we do with the county, and the other one is IMRF, anything that isn't on that, they would stop without knowing from us, and then the checks, they will get a list, and so hopefully that won't happen anymore. Yes.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
So they messed up, and now they've corrected it.
Yes.
But the caveat is now we have to pay a small fee.
Well, no,
That's
it's.
typical, unbelievable, that's
well-
typical.
Well, no,
Unbelievable.
here's what it is. I mean, anytime you write a check, and I've.
Actually, it's a safeguard for us, though.
But we have to pay.
Yeah, but
Well,
it's still a
so that we
safeguard.
can avoid this, okay, here's the thing. They've
They were
pointed
just
out,
doing their job in the
the
first
state of
place.
banking today is pretty, I mean, there's a lot of vulnerability out there. I would have thought that all of the online banking and all of that puts us at more risk. In fact, now people are so clever with the way they can duplicate checks and all. As soon as you've written a check somewhere, all of the information they need is there for somebody to, present something different. So this way, we assure, the same way that the clerk now, by law, has to attest to all the checks being properly, signed by me and approved, now we also let the bank know when those checks are valid. So they're not waiting, they're not twiddling their thumbs until a check comes to them and say, gee, I wonder if this is a good one. We tell them up front, by the way, these are the ones that are good. And if it's anything outside of that, now we've prevented other fraud. I mean, so,
If this situation happens again, because Roz had a similar situation happen at her office, and they went through the same thing, and it happened again.
it happened again.
And now she's got to do something else with it. I would like a guarantee from the bank that they're going to be responsible for this.
Yep.
This is their job. And if not,
Well, we had to go through all kinds of agreements, and yes, they are,
okay.
yeah,
That's, as long as we're clear on that.
right. So, that's the update on that. Cornerstone, the time capsule is still pending. The stonemason has not come around yet, and that's just fine, because I still have a few things to laminate, and people keep coming up with more items that we can pop in there. As there is a photo album, if this table hasn't gotten, there's a photo album from the event for you to take a look at. I did attend the Springfield Toy Educational Conference, the Township Officials of Illinois, as did Trustee Clark and Assessor Sitkowitz, and we tried to not step all over each other and cover as many of the breakout sessions as possible. I did a lot that had to do with, I went to the one that was about watchdogs and how organizations are coming out and trying to, catch you in things. And also, I went to a few that had to deal with the media, how to deal with it, what to be careful of, and so forth. And I also went to one that dealt with housing and some of the challenges in affordable housing. And our attorney was the winner of the award for
Attorney of the Year.
Attorney of the Year, basically, yeah. And I will allow Trustee Clark to report on anything that she had there. And that pretty much summarizes a lot of what went on this past month.
So I'd like to circle back to the cannabis issue. With the Village of Riverside looking to legalize cannabis sales within its town limits, and with them being very clear that their motivation is monetary, I'd like to examine what that's gonna have an impact on our mental health board and our drug treatment programs in town. And I would love to see some of that money, that revenue that they are going to realize, set aside for increased drug treatment programs. I don't know the
Well, I think the
rigmarole
only
for all of
tax benefit is going to be in sales taxes, and
Right.
I don't think we're going to benefit, so there's nothing for us to
Right, but
receive and set aside.
But if they do, then it is proven that once cannabis sales are approved in a municipality, that drug treatment costs go up. And since we are the taxing body,
That
the
takes
mental
care
health
of those
board,
treatments.
that covers that cost, I would like to be part of that discussion. I think if we are going to realize more expenses to treat drug problems due to another taxing body's decision, that we need to have, we need to be in that game.
What I would suggest is that we will absolutely explore it, but we have to wait and see what happens. So, I mean, this is not a discussion that we're going to have right away, or should have right away. We don't know what the village is going to do, if they're going to get somebody in here for their license, whatever the case may be. But we'll explore that, absolutely. But our job on the mental health board is to help our township residents. The same thing with, you know, these gambling machines. Everyone said that the gambling machines were going to create big problems for a runaway gambling problem. That has not been the case. It's been, you know, maintain a steady level. So let's see what happens with this first. But I agree, if there's something there, I don't know, and I'm not sure if it's a sales tax, but I think they can charge another tax, but that's out of our realm, that's none of our
Right.
business, so.
Right, it's not something
But we'll check it out as it goes on, and we'll see if there's a spike. I mean, we have counselors, you know, that we deal with now, that, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I would suggest that the marijuana sales are completely different than the gambling. And if you look at the problems locally, the problems with marijuana sales locally is a problem. The problem with video gambling is not realized by the local community. It's the broader community. That's a state issue. So I think we should do our due diligence. We should get our facts in order and put our 2 cents in while the village is debating this. Because if we try to come to them after the fact, a year from now, and say, hey, you passed this ordinance, and now we have this spike in drug treatment, and we need some money to help with it, it's like closing the barn door.
So are you
with it.
suggesting some kind of a intergovernmental agreement for that? Because
I
that's
would
the
just
only
like-
way we could,
I would love to see
That's
the,
one taxing body to another taxing
Right.
body.
I think we need to have the facts available to the village before they make this vote, that this is what happens when marijuana sales are approved, the local drug treatment prices, costs go up. And in Boulder, Colorado, where I used to live, they had, most of these communities will have, it's like so part of the gambling with the machines, part of the gambling money goes to treat gambling addiction. So I would suggest that part of the drug money goes towards treating drug addiction.
Isn't that on a state level, John?
It is.
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
yeah,
I think
that's
we
right,
need
it's on a
to,
state level. But also in Boulder, wasn't that recreational marijuana, and they're only.
oh,
looking
we're
to-
recreational come
well,
January
they're
1st.
looking at recreational now.
And that
coming in
dispensary
January.
is going on
Okay.
Long Common and Harlem, and I know the real estate guy, it's gonna be there come February. So I think the village is much farther along this decision, and I think we're kind of behind the 8 ball on this. And if we can have some statistics to support our case that local drug treatment costs go up when marijuana dispensaries are in the local community, that we need to cover
Well, how can there be
costs.
statistics if it hasn't existed before?
Pardon?
He's
Where would you
looking-
get the statistics
How
if
would you,
it's
how
Well,
would they provide
from
statistics?
all the other,
places where it's,
yeah, we're not the first one to approve recreational marijuana. It's going nationwide at this point. I foresee us having a run on drug treatment programs in our community based upon and if you look at the stats, it's not the white college-educated upper class who need that drug treatment program. It's the middle school kids, it's the high school kids. And that's the ones I'm looking out for in this. I think we need to be ahead of this, not behind it. And for this village to come through and pass this, and we're gonna be the ones stuck with the bill, I would love to see some of this some of the facts that I've read, that I know consolidated, coordinated, and able to be presented before this vote goes through.
Trustee Heilenbach, you have mentioned that among the speakers that we're planning to have in this celebration of the 150th anniversary, we have somebody who is to deal with the mental health impact.
Impact of the cannabis.
Is
Yes.
this someone who would have access to those kinds of statistics?
I can ask.
Okay,
I can ask.
maybe we can.
Yeah.
But on the same, if I can just, the mental health board is a taxing body. Going to the village came to us because they wanted us to pay for their special recreation. We told them they could apply for a grant. We will take care of the people that come forward on the mental health board. We'll make sure of that. I don't think that it's wise for us to get into a fight asking them for funding where I know we're not gonna see that.
Well, I didn't necessarily say we were having a fight. I would like to.
No, I mean, an argument, it's good, well.
What I'm
we all know
saying
what's gonna
is that we have to be prepared for the middle school kids in town to get the message that marijuana is okay, and then we need to be proactive to putting education in the school districts. We need to combat the issue. It's not an adult, the gambling is an adult thing. 12-year-old kids can't walk into a gambling parlor and start
But
pulling arms.
12-year-old kids can't
They
go.
walk into a cannabis place
No, they
either.
can't either.
You're
There's also an
missing
age.
the point.
There is
You're
also-
missing the point. When cannabis is legalized in a local community, the message is the youth usage rate skyrockets because it is approved. It is now no longer an
Taboo.
illegal drug. So that is what I'm concerned about. We have to understand what happens when dispensaries come into a local community, and I'm perfectly confident that the mental health board can provide us with that information. And once we have that information, it will inform our path going forward. And I would like to see some of the money that the villages are realizing through
Set aside by them for treatment.
for that, whether it's through our mental health board or whether they do it themselves. But as the taxing body that is responsible for mental health in our community and drug treatment and outreach and that kind of thing, it is our responsibility to foresee what's coming down the road at us and have a plan to how to combat that.
I would say that because the mental health board has already anticipated that drugs are an issue and has added to among its agencies one that deals specifically with these kinds of issues.
Addictions.
Right. Addictions that, they've certainly addressed it. They're supporting that organization and usually it's not a per capita kind of grant that you give. So I think
Right.
that you are already postured, the mental health board is already postured to support that. I do think that we need to call all the communities within our township who might be looking to pass that.
Brookfield is as well.
Right, right, to at least suggest to them that it would be a wise set aside. But we can't tell another taxing body how to spend their money any more than they should tell us, so.
Again,
I
you
understand.
guys like to do that, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we need to be prepared for
That
the
we might have an
repercussions
uptick in
of
expenses.
the decisions of other taxing bodies.
Right.
Whether they do it, whether we do it, we need to have our facts in order. We need to look at youth drug usage increase. We need to look at mental health board treatment programs increases. And we need to present that data to these municipalities to inform their decisions. Because the discussion I've heard in Riverside, none of that has been brought up. And as someone who's followed the debate very closely,
Well,
my
certainly.
concern is not the adults.
Right.
It's the 12-year-old, the 13-year-old, the 14-year-old who says, okay, marijuana's not bad anymore, you can do it. And all of a sudden we have this problem. So I would like us, as the taxing body that oversees this stuff, to at least Inform the public discussion.
I think that trustee Heilenbach, as our liaison to the mental health board, will certainly raise that issue to them as well.
I'll talk to Dr. Triani
Okay.
about the, some statistics.
Okay, thank
And
you.
when is your next meeting?
When? January. Third Wednesday of January.
All right. Do we know when Riverside is voting on this?
Offhand.
You never know with that agenda, do you?
I
Off-
just,
offhand, I
it's
don't know.
not,
Yeah.
again, that's their business. We'll see what we can do about preparing the youth and the people.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the trustees' reports, if we may. Hello? Trustee Clark, do you have a report?
I also attended the TOI conference in Springfield, and I went to meetings a lot on the budget. Thanks. I also would like to say that currently I served on the state TOI trustee boards, and this past meeting I was elected to be secretary of that. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'm looking forward to that. And then, as far as the seniors go, our exercise numbers are up. I don't know how many were here yesterday. Last Wednesday for our annual our monthly luncheons that are on the second Wednesday of the month, we did a Friendsgiving. So we had turkey and ham and stuffing and gravy and sweet potatoes, and I catered from the choo-choo, and it was delicious, and everybody seemed to really, really enjoy it. So we fed probably about, I would say, 25 people, maybe 27 people.
Nice.
You know, because I always invite people from the assessor's office and the staff from the township office and the custodians to get a plate. So that went really well, and I hope to do it again next year.
Thank you.
So, and our senior holiday party will probably be at the golf club again.
Okay, great.
And I'll talk with you, Vera, about dates.
Okay.
They like it on a Tuesday or a Thursday.
When they
So-
don't get all sweaty with their exercise
Right,
class, I
yes.
understand.
That's what, because they don't like to go to the golf club sweaty.
Okay.
When we were talking about with the people care people, would bringing their participants to our exercise classes be advantageous? Is that,
I don't think that's.
it's too active for them?
Well, most of what People Care does is they provide a service by taking people to the doctor, to shopping, stuff like that. I'm sure that the people in the area are aware of the exercise class. And that's why I think it's the sooner we can get that elevator running, the better. Because I think that's going to hinder
Right.
people coming to class.
Mayor,
Well,
trustee.
so far it has not.
Yeah.
You know, we still have had, as I said, I don't know the numbers from yesterday.
Right.
But we still have between 15 and 17,
Most of the
you know,
time.
3 times a week.
That's great.
And they walk up and down those stairs. Sometimes it takes them an extra minute to get up the stairs, but
But People Care is mainly
Yeah.
for ambulatory, you know, getting people to and from a doctor, maybe a drop-in as they're starting to start that service up. So I don't know.
We can certainly network, I mean, you
We
can tell
can- we
from
can
what you said,
absolutely
she was
tell.
aware of the class, so. All right. Thank you very much. Is there anything else? No.
no, I think that's all that I have.
Trustee Drapka, do you have
No
something to share?
report.
All right. Trustee Lupfer.
No report.
Okay. Trustee Heilenbach.
Okay, good evening. At the Mental Health Board, we're very, very busy. I'd like to give you a few updates if I could. The first being is our consultant, Dr. John Shetitsky, has resigned. He is moving out with his wife to California. We have 2 candidates to replace him, Supervisor Wilt, myself, John, and our president, Barbara Neppel. We'll be interviewing candidates in early December so we can get that person placed and on the board for January. As I discussed, that we moved the levy. The CPI was 1.9%. We stuck it at 1.7%. We figured that that will give us enough money, and we will stay within $10,000 of budget, and that'll work out just fine. I'm giving you an update on NAMI. NAMI has just been approved for firefighter training for mental health issues through Loyola University. We will be putting out an offer to the area fire chiefs to have firemen train on dealing with mental health issues, and they can be certified through Loyola University with NAMI. WSSRA, which is the special recreation, which we provide 50% of the fee and 50% of the transportation cost, has taken off. We had 15 non-duplicate people. Of that 15, 13 of them took multiple classes, which is saying that now these families are starting to be able to afford this. They're seeing this as a great opportunity, and they're getting their kids involved in more and more of these classes. We're real pleased with that. We are under budget with that, so we will be looking at different ideas in the future, but I think that's a fabulous start. The Community Resource Center, if you see, I dropped off a couple of brochures there. They have started to see some business coming in. They put out some brochures around the neighborhood, in the stores, on the table out front here. We are going to increase that visibility by doing a mailing. I've also contacted Riverside TV, and they have said they're going to do an interview with the Community Resource Center. They're going to go through it and what this resource center is about. And as you know, they'll repeat that several times. They also have RBTV that's going to be involved in this project. I think we're going to start seeing more and more people coming to our Community Resource Center. And the last thing I want to discuss with you tonight is the teen texting program over at the high school. I can tell you that without divulging any numbers because of security issues between the high school and NAMI, I can tell you that it is being well received, and that is a blessing. So I will keep you updated on that. I don't see any problem within the next year of expanding that program. It's very successful right now, very successful.
Great job.
So, and that concludes my report.
Thank you very much.
I just want to say, whenever I am talking about the township and what the township does, I always include the mental health things and especially mention the teen texting program.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of times, you know, I'm talking to people that, you know, have nieces, nephews, grandchildren, or somebody, you know, and they know the high schoolers. So I always mention that program because I think it is so great.
The first year of the program is a little expensive, but it goes down. You know, the first year they're buying the posters and the materials to pass out to get the kids involved. But I've always said, you know, one kid, just help one, and it's worth it to me. And it's being very well received, and I'm thrilled.
Good.
Thrilled.
It's going to be interesting to see how this goes during the holidays, because holidays can be really stressful for teens, well, for everybody, but.
Right. So, that's it.
Excellent. Okay, on to unfinished business. The calendar for next year, you'll note that we did add back in Casimir Pulaski Day for the closed days, and we have adjusted next year, we do not have to change the November meeting to the third week like we've always done, because the Toy Conference is the second week, is the third week instead. So, that's good news. So The calendar for posting is up for your approval. What is your pleasure?
Do you need a motion on that?
Yeah.
I make a motion that we approve the township meeting dates and the holiday calendar for 2020.
And would you include the committee of the whole meetings as well? We can always cancel if we don't need them.
And the committee of the whole meetings.
That's the second page.
That's my question.
I second that.
I have a motion by trustee Clark, seconded by trustee Drapka, to approve the meeting dates and holidays, both for the general board meetings, as holidays, and the township committee of the whole meetings. All in favor, say aye.
Well, is there a discussion?
Sure. Do you have any?
I would again like to request that we either change the date or the time of the committee of the whole. Tuesdays are very busy for me, so if we could either make that a Monday or later in the evening, I would appreciate the accommodation.
How much later in the evening would work?
Honestly, 8, but
Well, what is your pleasure? I mean, we
could do every other one. I mean, some accommodation would be appreciated.
okay.
So I would like.
What other days, I mean, are there other dates that would work for
First
the rest of the board?
Mondays, I mean, who's,
Mondays are perfect.
I'm not gonna be able to do Mondays.
And I'm not either, and I can't do Wednesdays.
Mondays and Wednesdays are out. What do Thursdays look like?
Thursdays, can maybe change the time,
what's?
Monday, Friday, or after 7:30?
Well, I don't want-
or-
Personally speaking, I don't
Fridays are tough.
I don't want Fridays.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fridays,
You know, that's what.
A lot of other things are scheduled on Fridays, and people are they're tuned out also by a Friday evening, unfortunately.
A lot of people are scheduled on
can't make
Tuesdays
Fridays.
as well.
Oh, and the clerk can't make
What
Friday.
about Tuesday, if we change the time to 7, would that help?
No, could we do either Mondays, Fridays, or change it to 8 PM? I would like the accommodation, but, that would be my request.
Can we, maybe discuss it,
Hold off on this until next month on the,
and then
on
if we
the
talk about this.
committee of the whole?
Talk about this at the committee of the whole. I'm willing to amend my motion just for the holidays and the meeting, the regular meeting days. And then put off talking about the committee of the whole meetings and when's a good time until next month. We weren't really gonna have a committee of the whole meeting in December.
Correct.
So,
So I'll second the
Can
revised
everybody
motion.
take, pardon?
I'll second her motion.
Okay,
Well,
so we have, so you're
well, we
changing,
haven't
No,
totally,
second
we're.
revised.
I
withdrawing
would-
your original motion?
I will withdraw my original motion and be open for discussion on a new motion. So do we want to just put this off until do we want to approve just the,
Well, let's get that over with. I don't think
Yeah.
there's any
Yeah.
argument on the first page.
okay.
Is there?
No.
So let's move,
So I make a motion that we approve the regular meeting dates for the calendar year of 2020 and the holidays for 2020.
I second.
okay. So I have a motion by trustee Clark, seconded by trustee Drapka, to approve the meeting dates for the full board meetings as well as the office closures, the first page of this proposal. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. Motion is carried. All right, so, committee of the whole. Looks like we really need to deal with this tonight because we don't have a committee of the whole in December and
Well,
we,
can I make a suggestion
Sure.
that we table that for right now and let us, this is getting dropped on us tonight, that,
look
you
at,
know, let's look look at our schedules, and then come back.
Trustee Hanabach, this is the second time I've requested a change.
I understand that, but I mean,
I didn't drop it on you tonight.
okay. Rephrase that. That this request has been made. Can we look at our calendars and see if we can accommodate trustee Lupfer on this? If we can, we can. If we can't, we can't.
So 2 trustees, Mondays are out, correct?
I cannot do Mondays.
And I
First
can't
two
do Mondays or Wednesdays.
And Wednesdays are off for you, and Fridays are off for you. How do Thursdays look for you?
They're just as bad, just move it back a little. I mean,
Later in the evening?
later in the evening, I mean,
I'll be honest with you, I'm not gonna sit in a meeting till 9 or 10 o'clock at night when I go to sleep at 9 o'clock.
It's
I
almost
go
9
to sleep
o'clock
about
right
8
now.
every night, so.
I'm serious, I am not
I'm
gonna be
asking
in a
for
meeting.
accommodation, and you guys won't accommodate me, and I
Can-
get that.
And I
So
don't
just
mean to be
vote on
rude,
it.
I'm just telling you. I get up and I work full-time,
Well,
every day.
Okay.
What would 7:30
Well-
look like? Would you be able to make it for a 7?
That would be much better.
I mean, those meetings have not been taking a real long time. Can we,
I could do 7:30 on Tuesday, but
I can do it on Tuesday, let's keep it on Tuesday, as long as you move it back, I can get here.
I mean, we had a couple that we went to 6, and I think all of us were a little struggling to do that, and I think that, that our clerk also struggles to get here for even the 6:30. She's coming straight from work usually, so,
how does 7:30 on the first Tuesday of the month work for people?
can we at least try it? Let's set
And
that.
Try it
After-
for the first month and let's see what happens.
And after March 1st, it's not a problem.
So then we can go back to
We can go
6:30.
back to
So,
6:30.
all right, then can we modify this and just do January and February at 7:30? And
Yeah, I
then
mean-
March, we get back to 6:30? That seems like a
Works for
very
me. I can work
reasonable.
that. That's very reasonable.
Okay. Then, let me,
So do we want a motion that, for our committee of the whole meetings for the year 2020,
20.
January and February, the meetings will start at 7:30, and March through December?
Well, then it kicks in the fall again, correct?
Yeah, but
Okay,
I'll have more
All right.
support, so
okay.
we can figure out.
You know, and
how to
after
get there.
our 150th anniversary, you know, we're gonna evaluate whether we need a
Right.
committee of the whole month. committee
It's
of
nice
the-
to have it scheduled, we can
Yeah.
always
Yeah,
cancel
yeah,
it.
Always
that's
cancel.
what, so.
Right,
So then, so continue with my motion, March of 2020 through December of 2020, the meetings will start at 6:30.
all right,
That's a wonderful accommodation, thank you
Okay.
very much.
very good. Then I have a motion by trustee Clark. Do I hear a second to modify that second page to 7:30 in January and February, and the rest of the calendar remains the same as published?
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve that modified schedule. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Who would like to, planning for the 150th anniversary. I don't know that we have any decisions to make here. We don't have the minutes from our last meeting yet, but let's just verify that we are looking at having a speaker on the mental health effects of cannabis. We're looking at a historical or published speaker, correct?
Right.
And we are looking at a volunteer project, one for the environment and potentially one for the homeless as well, but we were looking at.
Making the bed mats?
Bed mats,
That's
okay,
good?
okay, and then.
That was never discussed at the meeting.
Oh, it wasn't,
wasn't
okay.
No.
Okay, sorry. I knew that somebody had proposed that to me,
We
so.
did,
At a prior meeting, it was
as,
discussed, but not
prior,
at the last meeting.
but not at the
Right,
last meeting,
right.
so.
So,
we
but
did
those are some of the projects that we're looking at.
Planting the sunflowers and the ragweed,
Yes.
that was one.
Yes.
We're planting
yes.
ragweed.
Mildew.
It's a beautiful plant, I love it.
Yes, well, some things
To
for,
attract the monarch.
Something's for pollinators. Okay, and then, of course, our big finale on September 19th, and that does anyone have anything to report on that, or do you want to wait until January? I know that trustee Drapka's been investigating some of the musical.
Yeah, let's wait until January on that.
Okay,
You know, Tim, if you and I could work together and get a date for for your mental health
Sure.
speaker, so we can get that on the calendar.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, the sooner we can publish, because I expect that we'll have newsletter soon after the first of the year. So I'd like to kick off some of those dates then. so.
Yeah, and I will call you to get the name of that mob guy.
Oh, okay,
The mob guy.
okay.
All right, and then just let me know so that we can get it
Yeah, I
on
think like we
an
need to,
agenda. If you have any items for the agenda for our January
Yeah.
committee of the whole, please let me know. All right,
because I said, yeah, we want to get those, plus we want to make sure that we can get the room
mhm,
too.
right, right, we need to
That's not taken up.
coordinate, yep.
As I said, I always think these are good
Winter.
after football season.
Right.
And definitely not on Super Bowl weekend.
Definitely. Okay, thank you. I think that's all we want to deal with on that. For your information, there's the last 2 months' reports, because in October, at our last meeting, we didn't have the report of the prior month yet, and you have the reports on how our website has been doing. We are, we're getting more attention to it, and there was some kind of a glitch, I don't know. I wasn't able to find the promotion that we had of the actual event on the 2nd of November, and then when we met, it was there. So, Fran couldn't find it either, so, anyway, there might have been it might not have been uploaded quite correctly, but generally speaking, our website is serving its purpose. If you have any things that we need to address on that, please do let us know. All right, and we are up to the approval of warrants, and trustee Heilenbach.
I do have a question before I proceed on that.
Yeah.
Our general assistance, our flat grant, that's our cash assistance grant?
That's the monthly grant. Emergency assistance is a one-time, no more than once per year. They have to wait 12 months if they get it. And that is a situation that's a health and welfare kind of situation where I have to be able to solve the problem. And so that one has a higher maximum.
Because I saw that the cash assistance grant went from 300 to 314, but we're at 400.
We're at 400,
so-
that's the bare minimum. You have to add no less than.
So we're in
3 or 4.
compliance with that?
Oh, absolutely,
Perfect.
yes, absolutely. Yes, as soon as I learned that had gone up, that was last year, and you won't hear about that except for when I make a change, and then I make it part of the budget.
Perfect.
Okay? Very good. On to to the approval of warrants. Trustee Heilenbach.
Trustee Heilenbach moves that the board authorize and ratify payment of the bills identified on the general warrant for November 2019 in the amount of $25,954.06 as presented to this board on the 19th day of November 2019.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Heilenbach, second by trustee Clark, to approve the general warrants in the amount of $25,954.06. Are there any questions? Then Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Clark,
Yes.
trustee Drapka,
Yes.
trustee Hollenbach,
Yes.
trustee Lupfer,
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Motion by trustee Heilenbach that the board ratify and authorize the payment of the amounts indicated on the following warrants. The utility warrant for November 2019 in the amount of $1,614.42. The payroll warrant for November of 2019 in the amount of $20,283.76. The health warrant for November of 2019 in the amount of $1,759.58. Grants in November of 2019 for $8.15. General assistant warrant for November 2019, $2,821.34. Township radio players warrant for November 2019 in the amount of $200. And the food pantry warrant for November 2019 in the amount of $418.21. All of the above as presented to this board the 19th day of November 2019.
Thank you. Do I hear a second to that?
I will second with a correction.
Yes?
On the general assistance warrants, it should be $2,821.54, not 34 cents. I think it was just.
54, did I say?
It looks 34, but
Yeah,
I can
probably.
make that, yep, that's
Bad
correct.
writing.
Good catch.
Thank you. Thank you for that
Don't wanna
correction.
be off by 20 cents.
Yes. So I have a motion and a second to approve the following warrants. Let me just explain. If the payroll warrant seems high, it's because there were 3 payroll periods because of the later payment, and the $8.15 was because we were given a wrong amount and we had to catch up the payment. So the motion by trustee Heilenbach, seconded by trustee Clark, is for the following warrants. Utility warrant in the amount of $1,614.42. Payroll warrant in the amount of $20,283.76. Health warrant in the amount of $1,759.58. Grants warrant in the amount of $8.15. General assistance warrant in the amount of $2,821.54, and the Township Radio Players warrant in the amount of $200. Clerk Flau?
Trustee Clark,
Yes.
trustee Drapka,
Yes.
trustee Hollenbach,
Yes.
trustee Lupfer,
Yes.
supervisor Wilt,
Yes,
motion carried.
thank you very much. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn this beautiful meeting.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Drapka, second by trustee Clark to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion is carried.